Hello and welcome, it's the Crocheteer here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet a tree. Here is the tree we will be making in today's tutorial. And for this tutorial, we will need brown wool, green wool, a 3.5mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and some stuffing. This tutorial is very simple, and if you enjoy it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more free and easy tutorials just like this. So, to start off, we're going to tie a slip knot. Now we're going to do 2 chains. And we're going to do 6 single crochets into the first chain. And there's our 6 single crochets in our first chain. This should give us a circle. Now we're going to increase each one of these stitches. So we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then do another single crochet into the same stitch. That will increase it. Now we're going to repeat this for the next 5 stitches. So we're going to increase this stitch, stitch, and we keep going. This will leave us with 12 stitches at the end of our row. So now we have 12 stitches. We are going to crochet around in a circle, but we're only going to use the inside half of the stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook into the top side of the stitch, but it's only one side. Then I pull the wool through and do a single crochet. Now I'm going to repeat this around all 12 stitches. This will leave us with a nice edge to the bottom of our tree. Now we're going to do 9 rows of single crochet. If you want a taller tree, you could do more than 9, and if you want a shorter tree, then you'd do less than 9. But for my tree, I'm doing 9 rows. So there's my first row out of 9, so I've only got 8 more now. And now I've done 3 of my 9 rows. There's 4 of the rows. And there's 5 of the rows. Now I've done 7 of my 9 rows. And there are the 9 rows. At this point you should have 10 rows if you count down the trunk. So, now we're going to split the tree into the 2 branches. So to do this, we're going to do 1 chain, and then we're going to skip 6 stitches and go into the 7th. Then we're going to do a single crochet into the 7th, and that will split our trunk into 2 circles. Now we should have 7 stitches around the part which we're going to be crocheting. So now we're going to do 7 stitches, 7 single crochets. and we're only doing them on the half which we cut off from the main trunk. So we're only building half of the trunk at this point. So now we will do another 7 stitches. And now we are going to do 5 single crochets. Once we've done the 5 single crochets, we're going to decrease. So, to decrease, what you do is you insert the hook into the stitch as if you're going to do a single crochet. You pull the wool through, and then you insert the hook into the next stitch, pull a loop through, leaving 3 loops on your hook, and then you pull the wool through all 3. That takes 2 stitches down to 1 stitch. Now we're going to do 4 single crochets. And we're going to do another decrease. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets. And we're going to do another decrease. Now we're going to do a slip stitch across the part of trunk. So we're going to insert it into the next stitch, and then we're going to insert it in the stitch across, and simply slip stitch through. Now we're going to cut the wool, pull it through, and pull it into the trunk. Now at this point I would advise stuffing the trunk. So, we grab our stuffing, we take a little bit, and we fluff it up to make sure it's nice and fluffy, there's no lumps. And then we insert it into the trunk. I'm going to take a little more. And you want it to be relatively firm because it's got to hold the tree up. But obviously don't overstuff it and stretch the stitching. Now poke the last bit nicely in. And now we're going to do the second fork of the trunk. So, grabbing our brown wool again, we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch from where our other fork is leaving the trunk. So you should have 6 visible stitch tops, and you're just going to put it into the first one. Now we're going to pull the wool through, do a chain, and we're going to single crochet around the 6 stitches. Now last time we had 7, so we're going to chain 1 and then do a single crochet into the first of the 6 stitches we did in the last row. Now we're going to do 2 rows, and we have 7 going around this fork. So that means we're going to do 14 stitches. And there's my 14 stitches. So now we're going to single crochet 5 stitches. And we're going to do a decrease. Now we're going to single crochet 4 stitches. And we're going to do another decrease. And now we're going to single crochet 3 stitches. And we're going to finish with another decrease. Now once again we're going to slip stitch, so we're going to put the hook into the next single crochet, and then we're going to put it into the stitch across from it. And we're going to pull the wool through the 2 stitches and through the loop. Now we're going to cut the wool and pull it into the trunk. And there is the trunk. So now just to finish off, we're going to make the bottom nice and flat so it stands up. So to do this, we're going to pick up one of the half stitches we left at the bottom, and we're going to insert the hook through that stitch. We're going to pull the wool through, and we're going to do 1 chain. Now we're going to single crochet into that hole. Now in the next half stitch we're going to do an increase, and then we're going to do a single crochet, and then in the next one we're going to do an increase, and then a single crochet. And we're going to repeat increasing and then single crocheting until we get back to the beginning. And now I'm just going to slip stitch it into the first single crochet we did. to join up the circle. That will help the tree stand up once it is complete. So now we're going to cut the wool, cast off, and then pull it into the trunk. So, now we're going to move on to the leaves. For the leaves we're going to need green wool, and we're going to use the same 3.5 crochet hook. So how we're going to do the leaves for the tree is we're going to do 5 balls, we're going to do 4 down the bottom, and then 1 on top. So, we're going to start off by doing a slip knot. And now we're going to do 2 chains. Now we're going to do 6 single crochets into the first chain. Now we're going to increase every stitch we have. So we have 6 stitches around, and we're going to increase all 6 of them. So we're going to insert our hook into the first single crochet of the 6, pull a loop through, and pull through both. Now we're going to do that again in the same stitch to increase it. Going to do that 5 more times to finish the row. And there we have all of the increases done. This should leave you with 12 stitches. Now for our next row, we're going to repeat a pattern 6 times. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase. We're going to repeat that sequence 6 times to go all the way around the circle. So for our first stitch, we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to increase. Now we're going to do another single crochet, and we're going to increase. We're going to single crochet and increase. And then single crochet, increase. Single crochet and increase. And once more, single crochet and increase. This should leave you with 18 stitches. Now we're going to do 3 rows. So I'm going to get a bit of marker wool. That'll save me having to count the stitches. And I'm going to just lay it over my crochet in between where my next stitch is going to be in my hook, and then I'm just going to single crochet over it and leave it there. That means I can easily see where my rows begin. And there's my first row. Now I'm going to turn it inside out. So I've got the smooth side. Now I'm just going to get the wool, which I put through, and put it again underneath the green wool, and next stitch. That'll just keep it down, but I can easily see that that is where my row starts. So I'm going to do my second row now. Now I'm going to get my marker wool and pull it up again because I've got to my final row, and I'm going to crochet another 18 stitches. Excellent. So that's the 3 rows completed. Now we're going to start decreasing for the bottom of the circle. So, for our next row we're going to do 1 single crochet, and we're going to do a decrease stitch. We're going to do another single crochet and a decrease stitch. Then we're going to do another single crochet and a decrease stitch. We're going to do it 3 more times. So that's a single crochet and a decrease stitch, a single crochet and a decrease stitch, and a single crochet and a decrease stitch. That will bring us back to 12 stitches. So at this point I would stuff the ball. So just get your stuffing. Make sure it's nice and fluffy and there's no lumps. And then stuff the ball. Excellent. So, now we're going to decrease 6 times. So we're doing a normal decrease stitch, and we're doing it 6 times. So we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch and pull it through. Insert the hook into the next stitch and pull a loop through, and then pull the wool through all 3 of those loops. That is a normal decrease stitch. Now we've done it once, we only have to do it 5 more times. And there we go. So that is the ball complete. Now, I will put a time here so you can go back and repeat this process. You're going to want to do it 4 more times so you have 5 balls in the end. So the time should be on your screen now. And I look forward to seeing you when you've finished. So, now that we've crocheted the 5 balls that are going to be the leaves for the tree, we are going to sew them together. So, to do this, we're going to grab our green wool, and we're going to use that to sew them. So, I'm going to insert my hook into one of the balls. At the bottom, just between the last and the second to last row of the 3 we did. So, that will be in here. Now I'm going to put it's about 5 stitches across and pull it out. Now I'm going to pull that down the hook, and I'm going to repeat it with the next ball. So I'm going to put it through in the same way for a few stitches. Now I'm going to repeat this with all the balls. Squash them on. Feel like I'm making a kebab. And there are all of the balls on my crochet hook. So, now, using the green wool, we're going to hook it over the end and pull it through all of the balls. This could be quite a challenge, and if you don't get it first go, then I don't blame you, because it is pretty difficult, but there we go. Now all of the balls are attached to my green wool. This is the wool attached to the ball. Now it's going to get a bit confusing because I've got all the wool coming off of these balls as well. Don't worry about them. So now, we actually don't want one of these balls, so you can take one of the balls off. We only need 4 balls. My bad. So, now taking the wool that's holding them together, we're simply going to tie a knot. So just tie a knot nice and tight. And then do a second knot. Now, all 4 balls are held together. Now we can cut the wool that is holding our balls together. And you'll want to pull that just into one of the balls, just to get rid of it out of the way so it doesn't get confused with the ones on the bottom. Now, one of my balls didn't have a string off the bottom, and that is okay as long as you have 2, and if you don't, you can always sew them. You can just add the wool on the end of the balls, but you want 2 in opposite corners with wool. So I'm going to use this corner and this corner, which means that this corner I'm going to cut. So I'm going to cut this wool and I'm going to pull it in. That means we have 2 balls with wool. Now, these bits of wool and these balls are going to attach to the tree fork. But before we do that, we need to attach the 5th ball. So, for this one, I'm simply going to pull the wool through the middle of all 4 balls. So it's sitting on top, and then taking any one of these balls, I'm going to take one which doesn't have the wool coming off of it. So this one, I'm going to insert my hook through a few rows, and I'm going to pull the wool through. Now I'm going to wrap it around a stitch a few times to secure it, and then do my favourite trick where you insert your hook and you pull a loop, and then you pull the wool through the loop. Pull it tight, and that should secure it nicely. Now once again we're going to cut that wool and pull it into the ball. That gives us all 5 of our balls in a beautiful shape for the tree. So, if we get the trunk, we're now going to insert our hook onto the top of one of the forks. So just insert your hook through, and now getting one of the bits of string from the corner of the leaves, we're going to pull it through. Now we're just going to sew this together, so go through the leaf, then go through the trunk, and repeat that a few times. And now I'm just going to pull the wool into the ball. Now we're going to get the other piece of string from the other corner and do the same. So insert the hook into the top of one of the forks. Pretty stiff for me. There we go. And we're going to pull through the wool from the other bit of leaf. And we're going to sew this one, so just wrap it through the leaf. Ball of leaves, and then through the fork, and then through the leaf, and through the trunk, and you can do that as many times as you like. Now I think that's secure. I'm just going to cut the wool relatively short and pull it through to the top of the leaf. And there we have it, my friends. There is the simple tree. So I'll play a few photos. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more free and easy patterns just like this. Enjoy the rest of your day.